Welcome on board, Chosen One. Funny how your arrival alone already messes with the atmosphere. People try to act normal, but the second you step in, something shifts. And here's the part they don't want you to notice. The same mouths that once laughed at you suddenly go quiet. The same voices that said you weren't built for this can't even look you in the eye anymore. Isn't it poetic? They spent months calling you harmless, weak, too soft for the world, but now look who's double-checking their reflection before facing you. Look who's suddenly pretending they always believed in you. Look who's whispering behind closed doors because they can't process what you've become. Press the like button and subscribe to pay this message back. Anyway, let's get back to their meltdown. When they said you'd never make it, they thought those words would bury you. They expected you to bow, break, shrink. Meanwhile, you took every insult like evidence. You let their doubt fuel you. You kept your face gentle, your tone steady, your aura calm. And that messed with them more than any comeback ever could. It's always the quiet one who walks out of the fire without announcing the flames. And now here you stand, Chosen One. In the aftermath of the storm, you didn't start, but definitely finished. The silence around you isn't peace, it's fear. It's the sound of enemies realizing they misread you from day one. They wanted to believe you were harmless because your face looked safe. Your kindness made them feel powerful enough to mock you. They thought you were simple, predictable, soft. Cute theory. Too bad your eyes were telling the real story the whole time. You've seen that moment, haven't you? That glitch in their expression, that tiny panicked flicker when they meet your gaze and they see something they can't unsee, something ruthless, something unshakable, something that survived things they can't even talk about. They felt it, even if they pretended not to. Your eyes didn't warn them, they sentenced them. And now the universe has you walking into rooms like a walking contradiction that refuses to apologize for existing. Mercy on your face, annihilation in your eyes. A balance they thought only legends could pull off. You aren't pretending. You aren't acting. You're simply someone who learned that softness and destruction can grow in the same heart, and that power isn't loud, it's controlled. Here's what they get wrong every single time. They think the real you is one side or the other. They're desperate to label you, force you into a box they can understand. But you broke that false simplicity long ago. You learned to hold peace and chaos like two blades, switching them only when necessary. You became the villain they should have left alone, and the hero they weren't ready to face. You mastered the smile that heals and the gaze that exposes every lie standing in front of you. People don't fear monsters. Monsters are obvious. They fear duality. They fear someone who can forgive without being fooled, who can love without being controlled, who can walk away without leaving a trace of regret. They fear someone whose silence can do more damage than their loudest attack. They fear someone who learned how to survive every kind of betrayal, not by becoming heartless, but by upgrading. Let me remind you of something they'd rather you forget. You didn't get here by accident. You earned this version of yourself. Every insult sharpened you. Every betrayal polished you. Every loss forced you into a deeper layer of strength. Think back to the past versions of you. The ones who cried quietly, the ones who stayed loyal too long, the ones who thought kindness was a weakness. That version didn't die. It evolved. It grew teeth. Remember the moment someone told you, "You're too nice, you'll get eaten alive." Funny how their predictions aged like spoiled milk. Because now, the same people who mocked your kindness pray you never decide to show them what sits behind your calm smile. Now they're scared that your compassion was never weakness, it was restraint. The universe has watched you walk through situations that would have crushed the average person. You carried yourself with grace while your whole world was cracking. You stayed calm while they plotted. You kept moving while they hoped you'd collapse. And when the dust finally settled, you didn't have to raise your voice. You didn't have to brag. Your presence did the talking. The mask slipped for them, not for you. They finally saw who they were dealing with. Someone who looks merciful, but whose eyes hold the kind of energy that ends cycles, ends games, ends lies. Someone who doesn't need to fight to win. Someone who doesn't need to shout to dominate. Someone who became a living reminder that softness doesn't mean safety, and kindness doesn't mean surrender. This is your era now, and the enemy knows it. They feel it every time your name comes up. They feel it every time they remember how wrong they were, and they feel it most when they remember your eyes, the eyes that told them the truth before your words ever did. Your face shows mercy, your eyes show absolute annihilation, and together, that's what makes you unforgettable and chosen one. Before we step any further into this little journey the universe lined up for you, pause and feel what's happening inside you right now. That quiet shift, that pull in your chest, that sharp awareness that tells you this message is meant for someone who carries mercy on their face but destruction in their eyes. If you feel that, drop a 777 in the comments so I know you're still walking with me, still ready to embrace the power you never needed to brag about. Hit the like button and subscribe so this energy keeps flowing back into your world. Because now we're about to break it down, step by step. And trust me, if you really carry that dual nature everyone fears, you won't be able to walk away. You'll feel the universe tugging you deeper, telling you to stay until the final word drops. Let's move forward. The real unraveling starts now. Number 1. The mercy that terrifies them more than your wrath. Funny how they begged for your kindness, then panicked when they realized it came from a place they could never survive. Your mercy was never the cute little weakness they tried to label it as. It wasn't softness, it wasn't innocence, and it definitely wasn't because you didn't know how the world works. You showed mercy because you knew the cost of pain better than any of them. You knew what it felt like to break quietly, to hold your own pieces together while pretending you were whole. While they were busy playing characters, you were living through chapters most people couldn't even summarize without shaking. So when you offered someone gentleness, it wasn't blind hope. It was mastery. It was experience. It was the quiet strength of someone who learned every shade of suffering but still chose not to become cruel. And they hate that about you. They hate how calm you stayed while they tried to mess with your heart. They hate how you never played dirty, even when they did. They hate how your face looked peaceful, even on days where your world was falling apart. It made them feel exposed, like their games were too small for someone who had already lived through real battles. And deep down, they're terrified of a truth they'll never admit out loud. You didn't show mercy because you couldn't destroy them. You showed mercy because you didn't need to. Every time you let something slide, they assumed you were clueless. Every time you forgave something stupid, they thought you were naive. Every time you smiled through their lies, they believed they got away with something. They misunderstood your calm for confusion. They mistook your patience for weakness. They read your silence like a blank page, not realizing it was a page full of names, mistakes, and timestamps. You saw everything. You remembered every micro shift, every slip, every mask crack. You knew exactly who they were becoming, even when they still thought they were fooling you. Here's the real punchline. Your mercy wasn't for them. It was for you. You stayed gentle to avoid becoming like the very people who hurt you. You stayed compassionate because you didn't want your heart to rot in the hands of cowards. You stayed patient because you knew rage wasn't worth giving to people who barely deserved acknowledgement. And the universe watched you pull this off like a quiet miracle. You learned how to survive fire without letting it burn your humanity. But let's be honest, they never appreciated it. They never saw the depth of the person standing in front of them. They saw mercy on your face and thought you were easy to manipulate, easy to guilt trip, easy to use. They thought you were the safe one, the predictable one, the one who would always give one more chance. They didn't know you were studying their every move, collecting their every lie, letting them reveal themselves without interruption. They didn't know you were giving them enough rope to hang their own narrative. Mercy is only weakness to people who have never held real strength. Your strength scared them long before your eyes ever did. They just didn't recognize the signs. They didn't understand why someone who could destroy them so easily chose not to. That kind of restraint is terrifying. They wanted you angry. They wanted you emotional. They wanted you reacting. But instead you stayed centered, controlled, almost surgical with your kindness. And nothing unsettles a guilty person more than someone who sees everything yet chooses not to strike. Let's hit another truth they choke on. Your mercy came from pain they never witnessed. You learned kindness the hard way. You learned empathy through scars. You learned patience through betrayal. While they whined about small inconveniences, you endured battles that would have left them begging for mercy they never learned how to give. And now they're embarrassed by the comparison. How does someone who went through hell still show more compassion than people who barely experienced discomfort? Because that's who you are, and that's what they can never be. Your mercy also destroyed their ego in ways they're still recovering from. They tried to make you jealous. You stayed calm. They tried to make you insecure. You stayed grounded. They tried to make you chase. You stayed in your lane. Do you know how insulting that is to someone whose self-worth relies on controlling others? They needed you to break to feel powerful. They needed you to react to feel relevant. They needed your emotions to validate their existence, but you never gave them that. You never gifted them the meltdown they were waiting for. Instead, you gave them mercy, the purest insult to someone who wanted to feel dominant. And here's the hidden brilliance. Your mercy taught you everything you needed to know about them. It revealed who deserved space in your life and who deserved distance. It exposed weak souls who couldn't stand in front of genuine compassion without trying to exploit it. It showed you who only thrives when someone else is hurting. Your mercy was the test, and most of them failed it in record time. You're probably asking yourself something right now. Why did they treat me like that when all I showed was kindness? Because weak people always mistake kindness for opportunity. They don't understand people like you. They don't realize that mercy is a choice, not a default. They can't comprehend that someone can be gentle without being gullible, calm without being blind, forgiving without being foolish. They think everyone is playing on their low level. They had no idea you were operating in a dimension their mind wasn't built for. Here's the metaphor they'll never forget. You were the calm lake they tried to throw stones into, expecting chaos, but all they saw was their own reflection ripple back at them, and it scared them because they finally saw who the real problem was, and it wasn't you. Your mercy was your shield, your strategy, your silent weapon. It protected you from becoming bitter, and it exposed everyone who underestimated you. And now your mercy has evolved. It's sharper, smarter, selective. It's no longer available to everyone, and that alone is driving your enemies insane. They can feel the shift. They can feel the distance. They can feel the wall you built brick by brick out of every time they wasted your kindness. People never respect the mercy they didn't earn. They're finally realizing that the face they thought was soft is actually masked discipline. They're realizing that the softness they mocked was a controlled blade. They're realizing the mercy they exploited was the last thing keeping them safe from the version of you that doesn't tolerate nonsense. Because now your eyes are awake. Now your vision is clear. Now your patience has limits. And the universe has placed you in a season where your mercy is no longer cheap. Your mercy is earned. Your mercy is intentional. Your mercy is rare. And those who lost access to it, they're terrified. Because they know what your eyes hold when your mercy runs out. This is where the story shifts. This is where they realize the danger they created. This is where your mercy stops being their shield and becomes your crown. Number 2. The annihilation hiding behind your quiet stare. Mercy kept them comfortable, but your eyes remind them their comfort was never guaranteed. Your eyes don't lie. They never have. They carry the entire archive of everything you lived through, everything you outgrew, everything you crawled out of when no one even knew you were fighting. Your face may still look soft, gentle, even forgiving, but your eyes, those are the parts of you they can't handle. Those are the parts that make them stutter mid-sentence, the parts that make their throat tighten, the parts that expose every game they thought they were playing in secret. Your eyes tell the real story, the unedited version, the version only survivors get to keep. And the truth is simple. Your eyes show annihilation because you've already survived it. People don't fear your kindness, they fear your silence, because silence means you're calculating. Imagine this, someone looks into your eyes thinking they'll find warmth or innocence, something soft enough to bend. Instead, they find a battlefield. Not an angry one, not a chaotic one, but a battlefield that's already been cleared. Everything burned, everything rebuilt, everything silent, because the war is long over. That silence is what terrifies them. It's the silence of someone who isn't guessing anymore, someone who has seen too much to ever be naive again. Your eyes are the place where their illusions die, and they feel it instantly. They try to act like they don't notice, like your stare isn't scanning their intentions like data, like you're not reading them faster than they can form their excuses. But they feel it. They feel stripped. They feel exposed. They feel like they're standing under a spotlight they didn't agree to. Because when they look into your eyes, they're not just seeing you, they're seeing themselves reflected with brutal accuracy. And that's what hits hardest. Your eyes show them exactly who they are, without you saying a single word. Some people fear monsters, others fear mirrors. You're both. Imagine this. You walk into a room, quiet, unbothered, not even trying to pull attention. Within seconds, people shift their energy. Someone straightens their posture. Someone pulls their phone out to pretend they're busy. Someone else suddenly avoids eye contact, like you're holding a truth they aren't ready to face. They don't understand what's happening, but their bodies react anyway. That's the effect of your eyes. You don't have to roar to be dangerous. You just have to exist. Because your eyes learned the world earlier than your heart did. Your eyes memorized betrayal. They mapped the shape of abandonment. They took notes when people lied to your face. They calculated every moment someone underestimated you. And now all those lessons live inside them, creating a stare that's sharp enough to slice through pretense. People see it and freeze because they know, even if you smile, even if you offer kindness, you're not someone who gets fooled twice. Let's answer the question that might be haunting the chosen ones right now. Why do people react so strongly to my eyes? Why do they freeze, flinch, or look away? Because your eyes don't just look. They evaluate. Your eyes don't just see. They measure. They analyze. They detect patterns like you've been trained by the universe itself. People aren't afraid of you. They're afraid of what you notice. Your eyes became the one thing they can't manipulate. That's what scares them most. Your eyes don't hold anger. They hold evidence. Imagine this. A person stands in front of you, rehearsing their lies in their head, thinking you're still the same trusting soul they once played. But when they look up and meet your eyes, everything inside them glitches. The script they prepared falls apart. Their confidence slips. Their words stumble. Because your eyes already know the truth before their mouth even opens. They feel judged without being judged. Convicted without a trial, seen without permission. Your eyes became the courtroom, the verdict, and the sentence, all in one quiet gaze. You don't have to threaten anyone. Your stare does it for you. Not violently, not aggressively, just clearly. And clarity hurts people who depend on confusion to control others. You see, annihilation isn't always fire or rage or destruction. Sometimes annihilation is clarity so intense that every lie collapses. Sometimes annihilation is the silence that exposes their weakness. Sometimes annihilation is you choosing to walk away, knowing they'll crumble without your presence. That's the annihilation stored in your eyes. They're not the eyes of someone who wants revenge. They're the eyes of someone who already survived their own downfall and rebuilt themselves stronger. Anyone who's been through that kind of transformation carries a different kind of look. Nay afur. Nay, look that says, I know what breaking feels like. I also know I won't break again. And that's terrifying to anyone who still needs others to be fragile, to feel powerful. Imagine this. The universe drags you through a storm so violent it erases who you used to be. You lose almost everything. You hit emotional rock bottom. You crack. You shatter. You fall apart so completely that even your reflection stops recognizing you. And then, somehow, you start building again. Slowly. Quietly, alone. That rebuilding changes your eyes forever. It gives them weight. It gives them depth. It gives them a sense of finality. Your eyes stopped showing hope. They started showing truth. Your eyes stopped begging for loyalty. They started identifying traitors. Your eyes stopped trusting blindly. They started reading souls. This is why people can't lie to you anymore. Their faces betray them. Their energy betrays them. Their inconsistencies betray them. You see everything because you've lived through everything. And once you've witnessed your own destruction, deception becomes easy to detect. Your eyes aren't weapons, they're archives. They hold the timeline. They hold the receipts. They hold the memories of nights you survived alone, mornings you forced yourself to rise, days you carried pain without dropping it on anyone else. People sense that history when they look at you. They don't understand it, but they feel it. The weight, the depth, the silent warning that says, I've already walked through worse than anything you can do. And here's the part that breaks them. Your eyes are not angry. They're not vengeful. They're not explosive, they're resolved. There is a dangerous calm in someone who has already rebuilt themselves from atoms. Someone who has already faced the ending of everything they once loved and still emerged with focus. Someone who walked into the darkest parts of their own mind and came back with clarity instead of fear. You didn't get these eyes from winning easily. You got them from losing brutally. You got them from betrayal so deep it altered your personality. From heartbreak that rewired the way you interpret reality. From disappointments that taught you self-sufficiency. From isolation that forced you into evolution. You became your own guardian because no one else stepped in. You became your own strategist because no one else saw the traps. You became your own protector because the universe needed you sharper. That's why your eyes carry annihilation, not toward others, but toward illusions, lies, manipulation, and weakness. You don't destroy people. You destroy false versions of them. You destroy their masks. You destroy whatever fake identity they cling to when they stand in front of you. And people hate this because they can't hide around you. Your eyes see the intentions behind their actions. Your eyes see the truth behind their first impression. Your eyes see the patterns behind their mistakes. They look into your eyes and realize they are dealing with someone who doesn't fall for surface-level nonsense. Someone who doesn't get distracted, someone who doesn't get played twice, someone whose vision has been sharpened by storms, not dulled by comfort. And here is the final truth, the one they fear the most. Your mercy is what they pray for. Your eyes are what they fear. Your existence is what exposes them. Your face may still show softness, but your eyes remind the world that you learned annihilation the hard way, and you never forgot the lesson. Number 3. The mercy that hides a loaded weapon. People aren't scared of your kindness. They're scared of the monster you choose not to release. Your duality is their worst nightmare, not because you're unstable, not because you're unpredictable, but because you are terrifyingly in control. Your mercy feels warm, soft, inviting, a place where even broken people think they can catch their breath. But your eyes, those eyes expose the real cost of that softness. They show the storms you've survived, the lies you've dissected, the games you've outgrown. They reveal that your mercy isn't natural innocence. It's a conscious decision made by someone who already knows how to destroy down to the details. Here's the part that melts their spine. Your mercy doesn't come from weakness. Your mercy comes from power. Imagine this. Someone tries to provoke you, expecting you to lash out, but instead you go silent, not scared, not confused, just quiet. That silence is the alarm bell they hear in their bones, because they finally understand one thing. You're not refusing to fight. You're refusing to waste ammunition. Most people are harmless because they have no weapons. You're harmless because you don't feel the need to fire yours. And yes, they feel that difference. You could take someone apart in 3 sentences, emotionally, mentally, strategically. You could expose secrets they thought they buried under concrete. You could shatter the little character they perform for the world. But you don't. You choose restraint. You let them talk. You let them reveal themselves. And this self-control is what terrifies them the most. They wonder, how much does the chosen one really know? More than you'll ever admit, more than they can handle. Your duality, mercy on your face, annihilation in your eyes, proves one brutal truth. You are safe because you choose to be. You are dangerous because you don't need to prove it. Number 4. The furnace that built your two-sided power. You weren't born different, you were forged, and everyone who hurt you accidentally became the blacksmith. Your duality didn't fall from the sky. It wasn't some cute personality quirk. It was a survival blueprint the universe carved into your bones when nobody showed up for you. Every betrayal, every abandonment, every quiet night where you had to hold yourself together, that was the fire. That was the furnace. That was where your mercy and your annihilation were hammered into shape at the exact same time. You didn't choose to become layered. Life forced you to evolve into a creature that could hold warmth and destruction in the same heartbeat. You learned mercy because you knew what it felt like to need it. Someone should have offered it to you, but they didn't. And that absence became a lesson sharper than a blade. So you became the gentleness you never received. You became the softness you once searched for. But the world didn't allow you to stay soft for long. Imagine this. Every time you reached out with kindness, someone answered with a knife. Eventually, you stopped shaking. You just learned how to catch the blade. That's where your annihilation was born. Not out of hatred, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. The world only understood power, so you learned that language too. You didn't want to, but you had to. And each time someone underestimated you, another piece of steel settled behind your eyes. You stopped trying to be one thing the moment you realized the truth. Pure goodness gets eaten alive, pure darkness dies alone. So you became both. You mastered the full spectrum. You became the calm hand and the final warning. And now they fear you because you're no longer breakable. You're forged. Number 5. The presence that bends rooms without a sound. Your presence hits harder than their entire personality, and you don't even try. You walk into a space and everything shifts. Not because you're loud, not because you're showing off, simply because your existence carries weight. You're the gentle hand that could crush, but chooses to soothe. You're the quiet voice that could detonate someone's ego with one brutal truth, but instead you let your silence do the talking. That restraint, that calm, that control, it terrifies the ones who know they don't have it. Predators clock you in seconds. They look at you and instantly understand. This one isn't prey. This one doesn't run. This one knows too much. Your presence is a boundary all by itself. You don't have to set rules. Your energy sets them for you. You don't have to announce consequences. Your eyes already delivered the warning. And the funny thing is, you're not even trying to intimidate anyone. You're just being you. And that alone is enough to unsettle anyone operating from insecurity or manipulation. Imagine this: you sit down quietly and suddenly every liar in the room forgets how to breathe. The wounded feel safe around you because your kindness is real, not performative. They feel the softness in your face, the calm in your aura, the mercy in your voice. But manipulators feel the sharpness behind it. They feel the precision. They feel the unspoken message. I see you fully. Your presence filters people without a single effort. The genuine step forward. The fake step back. The weak step sideways. And the dangerous stay silent, hoping you don't look their way. You attract authenticity and repel deception simply by existing, because your presence doesn't just enter a room, it rearranges the hierarchy. Number 6. The mental breakdown you trigger with one look. People don't fear you because you're dangerous. They fear you because you can see them. Watch their reactions closely. It's almost comedic. At first, they melt into your warmth. They relax. They soften. They think they've finally met someone safe, someone calm, someone who knows how to listen without judgment. They lean in. They trust too fast. They forget their masks. Then, they make the mistake of looking too deeply into your eyes. That's when everything inside them glitches. Their smile stalls. Their sentence breaks halfway. Their breathing shifts. Their soul flinches like it just touched an electric fence. Because the second they lock eyes with you, they realize you're not running on normal human software. You're not reacting emotionally. You're scanning. You're analyzing. You're calculating patterns while staying perfectly still. Your eyes don't just look. They evaluate, decode, dismantle. And when someone has something to hide, that gaze feels like standing in front of a mirror they didn't agree to step into. Imagine this. They're talking casually, then your eyes catch theirs, and suddenly they forget what lie they were about to tell. Your face whispers, I get your wounds. I've lived them. But your eyes answer, don't test me. I end illusions for sport. And the wild part is, both are equally true. They can't process your duality. It doesn't fit their world. How can someone be gentle enough to heal them, but sharp enough to dismantle them? How can one person carry soft compassion and lethal clarity in the same heartbeat? You make them confront a truth they never wanted to face. They are predictable, and you are not. So they stutter, they fidget, they leave early, because deep down they know your eyes already understood everything they were trying to hide. Number 7. The genius they mistake for darkness. Your duality isn't confusion, it's mastery. They fear what they can't categorize. Your duality has never been an act. It's not deception, it's not manipulation. It's the result of an intelligence most people never evolve into. You're not switching personalities, you're switching frequencies. You read the room, read the energy, read the soul sitting across from you, and you respond with the exact version of yourself that situation demands. That's not instability, that's precision. That's psychological sophistication they can't even spell. You offer healing to the wounded because you recognize the pain behind their eyes. You offer warning to the dangerous because you recognize the hunger behind theirs. You don't suppress your softness or your sharpness. You don't deny your warmth or your annihilation. You integrate everything. You operate with all parts online, and that terrifies people who only function with one dimension of themselves. Imagine this. They think you're mirroring them, not realizing you already decoded who they are in the first 5 seconds. Your intelligence is the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself, the kind that rearranges someone's internal landscape just by existing in the same space. People feel exposed around you because you see their patterns faster than they do. You see their wounds, their motives, their fears, their games, and instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with clarity. That clarity is devastating to anyone who depends on confusion to survive. Your mind doesn't run from complexity. You are complexity. You're the storm and the stillness, the healer and the reckoning, the softness they crave and the truth they fear. You don't hide these parts. You weave them together until they function as one flawless system. Your intelligence breaks people because it shows them what real wholeness looks like. Not half light, half dark. Not good versus evil, but a person who mastered every part of themselves without apology. They wanted you simple. But simple people don't survive what you survived. Simple people don't carry mercy in their face and annihilation in their eyes. Only someone who understands everything can do that. Number 8. The vision that exposes their entire soul. Your eyes don't threaten people. Your eyes reveal them, and that's what destroys them. Your eyes carry annihilation for one simple reason. They see everything. Not the performance, not the mask, not the pretty story someone rehearsed in the mirror. You see the cracks, the glitches, the fear hiding behind their confidence, the wound hiding behind their arrogance, the lie hiding behind their smile. People feel naked under your gaze because you don't look at who they pretend to be. You look straight into who they actually are. Imagine this. They walk up to you wearing their best mask, and your eyes peel it off like paper. You catch patterns instantly, the repeated behaviors, the recycled excuses, the micro shifts in energy they pray you won't notice. Your eyes track everything, not because you're paranoid, but because you've lived through enough betrayal to recognize the early signs. Your mercy is never blindness. It's compassion delivered with full awareness of the darkness standing in front of you. And that's what terrifies them. Most people forgive because they forget. You forgive because you remember. You don't lose your history just because you choose peace. You don't erase the wound just because you refuse revenge. You don't let betrayal poison you, but you also don't pretend it never happened. Your memory is a vault. Your clarity is a blade. Your perception is a silent detector that never malfunctions. People fear your eyes because they tell the truth, even when your mouth stays silent. They know you're not someone who gets fooled twice. They know you're not someone who overlooks red flags. They know you're not someone who falls for surface-level sweetness or sugar-coated manipulation. Your eyes became your shield, your filter, your first line of defense. You don't see with emotion, you see with experience. And that truth alone is enough to annihilate anyone who thought they could ever outsmart you. Number 9. The apocalypse. You survived alone. The destruction they fear from you already happened inside you, and you lived through what would have killed them. The real annihilation wasn't something you delivered outward. It wasn't vengeance, punishment, or some dramatic showdown. The real annihilation was internal, quiet, personal, brutal. It was the day your entire worldview snapped in half. The day the lies you believed, the identities you clung to, the people you trusted, all collapsed at once. That was your apocalypse. That was your ending. And the wild part? You didn't stay dead. You rebuilt, then rebuilt again, then rebuilt a third time when life decided to test you even harder. Every version of you died a little cleaner, a little stronger, a little wiser. Imagine this. Your soul cracked open like a fault line, but instead of falling in, you climbed out. People look into your eyes now and think you're intense, dangerous, unreadable. They're not wrong, but they're not even close to understanding why. What they're seeing is the echo of everything you endured. The ghosts of the storms you buried, the memories of the selves you had to outgrow just to stay alive. Your eyes hold the smoke of the internal fires you crawled through. Your aura carries the weight of battles no one saw, no one applauded, no one even knew existed. And here's the truth that bends their knees. Your mercy today is self-forgiveness. Your annihilation is self-awareness. You no longer destroy others. You destroy versions of yourself that no longer serve your evolution. You no longer fear endings. You've lived through too many to be scared. You no longer cling to illusions. You've burned them before, and you'll burn them again if you must. Your internal annihilation remade you. Your rebirth weaponized you. And everything they fear now is simply the aftershock of your survival. Number 10. The freedom that makes them fall apart. Your existence is dangerous because it proves they were never trapped, just terrified of their own potential. What people fear most about you isn't your stare, your silence, or even your power. It's your freedom. The freedom to be everything at once without apologizing for it. You don't shrink to fit one identity. You don't force yourself into a clean category to make others comfortable. You hold softness without becoming weak. You wield sharpness without becoming corrupt. You carry warmth in your face and annihilation in your eyes, and you don't pick one side just to make your existence easier to digest. That level of self-permission, that's what makes their bones rattle. Your duality exposes them. Your wholeness highlights everything they've been avoiding. Your self-acceptance makes their self-denial scream. Imagine this. You walk into a room as your full self, and suddenly everyone realizes how much of themselves they've buried just to survive. Your complexity doesn't confuse you, it liberates you. You've made peace with the paradox inside you. Meanwhile, they're still fighting their own reflection, terrified of the parts of themselves they've locked away. You're not fragmented like they are. You're integrated. you're whole, and that alone is a threat to anyone living a half-life. Your presence whispers one brutal truth they don't want to hear. You could have been free too, but you chose fear instead of evolution. Your existence reminds them that being one thing was never the rule. It was a cage they willingly stepped into, a cage you broke open without waiting for permission. Your freedom doesn't confuse them, it convicts them. They want to understand you, but understanding you would mean confronting themselves, and they're not ready for that. They don't have to understand you anyway. You're not here to be decoded, you're here to be free, and that alone terrifies them more than anything you could ever say or do. Number 11. The consequences of seeing through everyone. People didn't lose you by accident. They lost you because your vision made hiding impossible. Your perception has always been your real superpower, even when you didn't realize it. You're not the type who needs proof spelled out in neon signs. You pick up the energy, the tremors, the hesitation behind someone's smile. You notice the ways their eyes dart, the tone shift mid-sentence, the guilt hiding behind casual words. And the moment they sense you noticing, everything inside them starts malfunctioning. They think they're being mysterious. You're already reading their entire operating system like it's printed on their forehead. You didn't push anyone away. They retreated the moment they realized they couldn't perform around you. Your eyes made their lies sweat. Your silence made their ego panic. You weren't supposed to catch the inconsistencies, the micro flinches, the emotional fingerprints they left behind. But you did, instantly, effortlessly. And people don't know how to stand in front of someone who can see the truth they're terrified to admit even to themselves. Imagine this: someone rehearses a whole persona before meeting you, charming, confident, polished, but the second they sit down, your eyes slice straight through the costume and their entire act falls apart like wet paper. They panic, not because you're cruel, but because you're accurate. Truth in its pure form is lethal, and your perception delivers it without raising your voice, without lifting a finger. When someone realizes you see them fully, the good, the broken, the insecure, the hidden motives they thought were invisible, they only have two choices: rise to honesty or run from exposure. Most choose the second, because being seen is heavier than being judged. You're not intimidating because you're violent. You're intimidating because you're unblindable. And people hate being fully seen. Once their true nature becomes visible to you, they can't pretend anymore. They can't manipulate. They can't rewrite the story. They can't hide behind charm or excuses. Your clarity becomes the mirror they never asked to look into, and the ending they never saw coming. That's why they tremble around you, not because you destroy, but because you detect. Number 12, the price of being built different. They want your strength, but they don't want the storms that built it. People love the final version of you, the calm voice, the sharp eyes, the balance of kindness and annihilation. But they have no idea what it cost. They think you just became strong one day, as if the universe randomly decided to bless you. They don't see the nights you collapsed quietly, the mornings you got up without a single person cheering for you, the storms that shredded your identity until nothing familiar remained. They admire the duality, but forget the breaking that forged it. Being who you are came with a price most people couldn't pay with their entire lifetime. The universe didn't hand you this power like a gift. It hammered it into you, repeatedly, until your softness learned discipline and your darkness learned restraint. Blow after blow, silence after silence, betrayal after betrayal. And when the universe finally stepped back, the message was clear. Now look at you. Imagine this. Every version of you that collapsed didn't disappear. It hardened into armor. Every betrayal you outlived added another upgrade to your intuition. Every lonely night rewired your instincts, made your vision sharper, made your heart smarter. People envy your presence now, but they would crumble under the weight of the experiences that built it. They want the glow without the grind, the wisdom without the wounds, the power without the past. But here's the truth they choke on. You didn't evolve because it was inspiring. You evolved because the alternative was death. Emotional, mental, spiritual. Your duality isn't decoration. It's survival architecture. You became mercy because you know what cruelty feels like. You became annihilation because you know how dangerous softness can be when given to the wrong people. You became whole because being broken was no longer an option. And now, everyone feels the difference. You can't be manipulated like before. You can't be emotionally hijacked. You can't be shattered in the same places again. Your upgrades are permanent. Your evolution is irreversible. And permanent things, they scare temporary people more than anything else alive. Number 13. The future they're not ready for. They're afraid of your past. Wait until they see your future. Your duality was never an accident. It wasn't some dramatic twist in your character arc. It was a setup, a positioning. The universe didn't drag you through storms, betrayals, collapses, and rebirths just so you could shrink back into the shadows. It shaped you into someone perfectly designed for the future you're about to step into. A future that requires someone gentle enough to connect deeply, but lethal enough to never lose themselves again. Someone with mercy in their face, but annihilation resting quietly behind their eyes. Imagine this. The same eyes that once searched for approval now scan the world for purpose. The same heart that once begged to be understood now chooses who deserves entry. The same soul that once panicked at endings now walks through them like unlocked doors. You didn't just evolve, you outgrew your old limitations so completely that going back is no longer an option. Your future isn't built on fear anymore. It's built on clarity, precision, awareness. And your enemies, they finally get it. The soft version of you was already dangerous. The balanced version is unstoppable. But the awakened version, the one who knows exactly who they are, that's the version they prayed would never appear. You owe nothing to anyone who contributed to your destruction. You owe everything to the version of yourself who crawled out of it. That version deserves the entire future you're about to claim. So step forward, chosen one, with mercy in your face and annihilation in your eyes. They can handle one. They'll never survive both. Now that everything has been laid bare, the duality, the fire, the consequences, the evolution, it's clear why the world reacts the way it does around you. You're not just a person anymore. You're a walking revelation. A reminder of what happens when someone survives every kind of annihilation and still walks forward without flinching. If you feel this message in your bones, chosen one, then pay the energy forward. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop the number 77 in the comments, and share this with someone who needs it.